this year, 14 tackles a week ago. Here's Taylor picking his way forward. Taylor breaks into the clear, and the freshman off to the races. The touchdown for the Badgers. Taylor slips the tackle in the backfield. Look at the power of Taylor down the sideline for his second score. What a run. And now we get to see the power, the tackle breaking ability, and then the speed again of Taylor.
Here with this, let's talk about the running backs. To me, this running back class is very top heavy. I think there's some depth pieces and more role players once you get a little bit further, and whether it's a grinder type back or a satellite back, if you will. But let's just kind of start off with the top. And I think for most people, Jonathan Taylor is sort of the alpha in this group. However, there's starting to be reports out right now that he may not go until the third round.
Yeah, man, Jonathan Taylor not going until the third round. I just can't see that happening. If you look at his profile and everything he offers as a running back, I think he's locked into probably the mid-second round at worst. He has a prototypical size. He has the dominant collegiate production. He blew up the combine. I just think he's the exact kind of back that most NFL teams will covet, and I think we see that play out here in a couple of weeks. The one knock on his profile would be the amount of touches he's seen and the fact that he only has the one season, his junior year, where he had more than 20 catches. But I think that's more of a case of how Wisconsin used him those first 2 years, really, instead of him just not being able to contribute in the passing game. With his athleticism, I just don't see any reason why he won't be able to expand his usage at the next level. Seeing him use more in wheel routes and option routes and everything like that, and not be just a dump off guy. Again, with his athleticism, if you get him in a system where they're able to really work on and really use like the screen games and they're effective at that. Like I said, man, his speed and his agility for his size, like I don't think he's the most agile, the most laterally explosive athlete out there, but he certainly has enough that if you get him in, screen game situations, he's going to be able to rip those off for chunk yards. I mean, if you look at somebody like Leonard Fournette, a lot of people thought was basically a zero as a receiver. And if you look what he did this year, he had 76 catches. Like, nobody would have thought that was even a crazy outlandish ceiling for him. And I mean, it took 100 targets, but I mean, if you get Jonathan Taylor involved like that, there's no reason why he couldn't do that. I think he can absolutely provide the kind of receiving game usage and production that guys like Fournette and Melvin Gordon give you. It's just a point of getting him involved. Are you gonna line him up outside like Le'Veon Bell we saw a couple years ago when he was in his prime in Pittsburgh? No, I don't think we see that. But again, there's no reason why he can't produce if he's given volume, and whoever drafts him makes it a point to use him in the passing game. So I think whenever you take all this into consideration, you look at all these things, I can't see him falling to the third. I think there's a legit chance that no running back goes in the first round, but falling to the third, I just don't see.
If you kind of look at some of the other landing spots there are, like I struggled to try to come up with like teams that just absolutely need a running back. It's basically not even absolutely, but I think they're the most likely to take a running back, and that's Tampa, Kansas City, and then Miami. And then you have a list of teams that I feel like that may take a running back, like Pittsburgh, Indy, Buffalo, Carolina, San Francisco, the Jets, the Chargers, the Rams, the Texans, and Seattle. I think were the teams that I kind of came up with that I felt like wouldn't surprise me if they take a running back, or more than likely will take a running back. A team like Carolina, for example, they've talked about they really want to get a secondary running back behind Christian McCaffrey, and Buffalo has talked about wanting to get somebody behind Devin Singletary. So I think these teams make some sense. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. But with Jonathan Taylor, it just kind of surprised me because he's just sort of he's kind of just the entire package, right? We talked about he ran the 4.39, 121.7 speed score, 122.7 burst score. I mean, he was right up there with Saquon Barkley in terms of how well he tested in the combine. And then you factor in the fact that he had 6,000 rushing yards and 50 touchdowns. Now, there is some concern with the 925 career attempts that he did have. But, I mean, the dude is just everything you could possibly hope for, and he's still young, only played 3 years. So get past him, and then so if he goes in the third round, the question becomes then where do these other guys go?